What's good? How your day going? Morning, evening, night, whenever you're watching this. I'm hella excited to watch this. Not even gonna lie to you. Let me tell you a quick story why, and then we're gonna start the video. Be patient, calm down. So look, yesterday, like last night, it's actually daytime right now. Last night, right? I want to say I was either on TikTok, might have been like YouTube Shorts, Facebook Reels, whatever. It was one of those short type of videos, right? So I'm browsing, and when I say I came across the most legit, most bone-chilling, it was like a Reddit story. Those Reddit stories I've ever heard in my life. It was so good I saved it. I don't remember exactly what it was about, but I did save it. So I'm gonna post it in my community tab later. I'm gonna have to go back and dig and find it though. But when I read it, I was like, yo, I want to watch some Reddit stories on the channel. My bad, I'm getting all whispery and ish. My bad. So either way it go, that's why we're about to check out what's the scariest, most bone-chilling moment you have ever witnessed. AskReddit. Thumbnail looks fire. I mean, to me, like this about to be good. Yo, want to check out the video? Link will be in the description below. But let's go.
Serious, what is the scariest, most bone-chilling moment you have ever witnessed or have been told in your life? Please like and subscribe to support us. I was watching this as an interested neighbor. A tree fell in my neighbor's yard down a steep hill. It was a huge tree 5 feet wide x 70 feet tall. Crane was pulling up on a piece of it while a grunt worker was chainsawing the piece being pulled by the crane to separate it. The crane cable tension was tight on the piece he was cutting, so when the worker cut through enough of it, the cable ripped half of it up the hill, and the worker's chainsaw went straight up into his head. I'll never forget him trying to walk a few steps and pull it out before he fell over dead with the saw still humming away.
Damn.
This happened a month ago when I picked up my sister from a party. I was driving home, and along the way, I saw this black car doing 15 miles per hour, flashing brake lights, turning on the left indicator signal but making a right.
Oh, hell no.
Impatient me decide to illegally cut him off and just go home. But after I did it, he began to speed up and flash his fog lights.
Yes, I'm thinking dog looking for a lick. I don't know. Yeah, but when I see iffy-ish like that with cars, boy, I mind my business. I'm gonna tell y'all the most bone-chilling ish that happened to me, which was like recently too. It was like 2 months ago. I'm gonna tell y'all some crazy ish, dog.
Turning on the left indicator signal but making a right. Impatient me decide to illegally cut him off and just go home. But after I did it, he began to speed up and flash his fog lights, signaling me to pull over. I just kept driving out being creeped out. My house was a couple of miles away with a lot of turns, but this guy kept tailgating me and pursuing me, which was getting pretty scary. I literally drive 50 miles in the radius of maybe 10 miles trying to get him off me. I finally made a left turn where he couldn't follow or risk hitting another car. I quickly pulled over and turned off all my lights, only to see the car slowly drive by as I hold my breath, hoping he doesn't spot me. After about 15 minutes, I look around and slowly drive home. My sister was drunk and asleep, so she basically didn't even know what happened. Scariest moment? Nodding off behind the wheel.
Ooh,
Just finished
shit,
working 14
no.
hours. The only thing that saved me was the car who laid on their horn as I cut them off. Saved me from running straight into a barricade. Creepiest moment? Watching my parents take their last breaths, death rattle/wheeze, in the hospital after fighting small cell lung cancer, stage 4. This happened 5 years apart BTW. I have nightmares and chills because I can still hear/imagine it.
Damn.
My group of friends liked to play this game we called Run. We would play late at night, starting around 1 a.m., when the streets would be empty. Our town is very small. We'd walk down to Main Street and stand around outside the post office or grocery store. We'd hang out, talking and bullshitting, until the local police officer drove by. We'd stand there just long enough for him to see us, and then we'd all scatter and run in different directions. The cop would chase us through town for the rest of the night. As long as we stopped, if he turned his lights/siren on, we wouldn't get in any trouble. We did this all the time, and the cops seemed to enjoy the sport. Sometimes they would even get out of the car and pursue us on foot. It was exhilarating and so much fun. Anyways, one night we were playing this game until around...
I ain't gonna lie, I play that shit so fun to me, Joe. I ain't gonna lie to you. I know you probably think like hell no, but boy, you ain't gonna catch me, boy.
It was exhilarating and so much fun. Anyways, one night we were playing this game until around 4 a.m. The birds start singing, and the sky started turning gray, so we decided to head home. As we're walking along a road parallel to the main highway, we hear this huge boom. We thought a bomb had gone off. We ran as fast as we could to where the sound had come from. We get to the local auto parts store and see that a truck had plowed right into the side of it. There weren't any police or emergency services there yet, And this was before cell phones, so one of my friends sprinted off to the nearest house to call 911 while the rest of us cautiously approached the vehicle to see if the driver was okay. I can't even describe what we saw. It was like the bottom part of this guy stayed sitting in the driver's seat, but his top half had just sort of shifted over to the passenger side.
Damn.
He was in two pieces. I remember thinking how weird it seemed because it all looked so normal. I mean, not normal, obviously, but in movies, blood and guts seems a little surreal and stylized, and this was just. His mangled body was just sitting there. I'm not sure why it shocked me so much. It's not as if ominous music and mood lighting appear around every dead body IRL. A few seconds later, the tribal police from a casino 40 minutes away pulled up with their sirens blaring. A few minutes after that, the police, ambulances, and fire department start to arrive. Apparently, this guy had stolen some money from the casino. The tribal police had been chasing him, but he ended up getting ahead of them. It had been raining, and there was a decent curve in the road by the auto parts store, and this guy had drifted over the curb and slammed sideways into the building. The really disturbing part was how the entire freaking town came out to gawk at the accident. It took them hours to get the guy's body out of the vehicle. People were camped out on every lawn and sidewalk, trying to catch a glimpse of the body.
Yeah, because people be
At
nosy.
one point, a few volunteers grabbed a bunch of sheets and tarps to hold up around the scene, and then people started going up on rooftops so they could see from above. This guy had died in a really horrific and brutal way, and all people cared about was seeing it.
Was seeing it, because I don't know why. Like, some people legit feel like they have to know. Like, I have to. Like, dog. Don't get me wrong. I'm a little nosy. A lot of us are, but I ain't going that far. Like, it ain't that serious to me.
This guy had died in a really horrific and brutal way, and all people cared about was seeing his corpse. I once witnessed the aftermath of a bar fight. One small drunk guy kept pushing a large sober guy for no apparent reason. A large guy knocked him out with one punch, but from what I heard, it was a vicious punch. I found the man lying between two pool tables. He had hit his head pretty bad when he fell back. It was bleeding. He was completely out, wouldn't respond to any of my attempts to wake him up as we waited on the ambulance. The way he was breathing was the most disturbing thing I had ever seen. His body was on survival mode to keep his lungs pumping air. It was hard, forceful breathing, blood pouring from his mouth because several of his teeth had been knocked out. When EMS finally came and took him away, I couldn't even look at him any longer, just to see someone in such a helpless state.
Yeah, I've seen people in that position too many times. And last stop, I know exactly what you're talking about. It sounds painful. Like they be like, I can't really do it, but like you could hear like their body's like really trying to breathe, but you can hear it sound like something is broken somewhere. Like, oh my gosh, this sounds painful, dog. I never understood that either though. When people get hella drunk and they can't control it and they like to pick fights. For one, the dude could have been little and weak. The sober dude could have been little and weak. Guaranteed dude would have been one. Because when you see drunk people that they can't even stand up on their own and they be trying to fight everybody, like, dog, somebody just gonna thump your ass and you gonna fall over.
I couldn't even look at him any longer, just to see someone in such a helpless state. The poor man even pissed himself. I found out later he had to be life-flighted to a larger hospital because he had bleeding on the brain.
Damn.
But he has apparently recovered and still up to his old ways. I never want to see someone like that ever again.
Told you. I know what you
The
mean.
scariest moment is when I had to come face to face with the scene where my brother committed suicide. Growing up, I have always had trust issues, so whenever a relative passed away, I was like, meh, because I never allowed myself to become attached. However, this doesn't apply to my immediate family.
I know what you mean.
They have my absolute trust and love. My brother committed suicide by drowning himself in the local lake, and when my family was notified, it has already been 4 to 5 hours.
Damn.
Yet when I arrived there, I was so scared and shaken up that I had to confirm several times that it wasn't a nightmare. Logic flew out the window as I proceeded to ask an officer, what are the chances of my brother being alive? Knowing that it's been hours since he jumped. I was 25 at the time too. I had to suck everything up and comfort my parents with false hope by saying this is probably BS. I will never forget that moment, where all logic just flew out the window.
Know exactly what I mean. It really do. When you find yourself in a situation like that where it's like you just don't believe, like this can't be real. Where you just don't believe it so much to the point. No, I wouldn't say you do not want to believe it when you're in those situations. So you legit, like you said, logic goes out the window. I 100% understand what he's talking about.
I had to suck everything up and comfort my parents with false hope by saying this is probably BS. I will never forget that moment, where all logic just flew out the window. Victim of a severe road rage incident. I am a small 26 years old woman in a Mazda 3. At roughly 7 a.m. in the winter on Mountain County back roads, a giant Ford 350 decides I'm going to slow. He starts accelerating, first like he's going to ram me, then at the last moment passes me illegally on a turn. He gets in front of me and then slams on his brakes. I slam on mine and narrowly miss hitting him. We are sitting there for a minute when he starts revving his engine. He goes into reverse and tries hitting my car. I'm screaming and go into reverse. We are now both driving down the mountain in reverse. I use my Bluetooth to call 911.
This shit is sick.
They can't make anything out. I'm saying because I'm screaming. After about 100 yards of driving backward, he stops. I stop. Ike, why? I start talking to the 911 operator. The man gets out of his car with a weapon and starts running towards me. I scream again. In the distance, a car is coming, and the man runs back into his truck and flees. I have never in my life been so scared.
Damn,
Never
man.
have I ever thought I was about to be murdered. It is not a feeling you can forget, but it's hard to explain. I was crying and shaking uncontrollably for the next 6 hours. I do not drive that road anymore. Being alone.
Your ass was shaking. Glad you're alive, but I know what you mean. Cause some people when they come to road rage, I ain't gonna do a lot of talking. They won't give up. Like I cuss your ass out and keep going. These cars, I'm not about to play with people's lives in these damn cars, dog. This is crazy, man. I remember we had situations like that on the highway. Me and my girl, I think she was pregnant too. Kind of similar with that. It was some bullshit, but
For the next 6 hours. I do not drive that road anymore. Being alone locked in my room in a mental hospital at the age of 12 after being read a horror story about a scarecrow named Harold.
oh,
I don't know
shit.
why, but this story stuck with me for years afterward. I could not sleep for a week and a half after. Every night I would cry with my lights on, waiting desperately for the morning. Every night I could swear I could see Harold by my window, waiting to skin me and hold up my pelt and celebrate like in the story. My friend's cousin disappeared. That's it. She just disappeared one day without a trace.
Damn.
No signs, no clues, no piece of evidence that would lead them to the kidnapper of this young girl. She wasn't much older than her young teens if I remember right. That's what makes it scariest, in my opinion. It could have easily been my friend kidnapped. It could have easily been me. It could have been another girl in another town. It's been at least 10 years of nothing. Nobody, still no evidence. She's just gone. Edit for words and adding some stuff.
What
This
the
happened in Texas.
Fuck.
Around 7 to 10 years ago. It never really made the news, as far as I know. I was told about the disappearance about 5 years ago, and my friend only mentioned her cousin a few times in passing after that. I don't want to reopen any wounds by asking my friend about it because they were practically sisters from how close they were. Apologies for not being able to provide more information. During
Oh,
Katrina.
This is gonna be the last one, man. Good gosh, yeah, that is, and that's kind of like them true crime was we watching, where it's just like no closure. I wouldn't even say, yeah, it's still no closure, but damn, this is like no closure, no information, no trace, like he said. Damn.
I lived just outside Jackson, Mississippi. My grandmother and cousin that lived on the coast had come up to stay with us. We figured we'd be fine since no hurricane had done very much that far north. The storm had picked up pretty bad, and we were in the carport looking at the pine trees across the street bend. We kept saying how they were about to fall. We went back inside, and I started to listen to music on my CD player pretty loud. Out of nowhere, I see something pink and foamy fall from the ceiling and land on my cousin's face. She screams louder than anyone I've ever heard before. I look to my dad and see him mouth, "Run." I get up, look behind me, and see a tree branch, not 1 foot behind where my head had just been, sticking through the window. The giant oak tree in our backyard had fallen on our house. The only reason I'm alive is that the tree was forked and fell in just the right way to wedge itself on our chimney. When I almost got kidnapped while walking.
Look, but I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the video up here because this video is an hour long, so I'm not gonna watch the whole thing in one sitting, but we will break it into pieces. But I'm not gonna lie, this one was freaking hella freaking crazy. Blah, if I get my words out. The freaking road rage one. I watched a couple videos of that online. Like some people, I ain't gonna lie, some people when they tell the story, they will make themselves really play out to be the victim. I'm not saying that's in this person's situation. I'm just saying when I watch a lot of those, that's what happened. But a lot of those I watch, some people really cannot let it go though. Like let's say you get into something like a heated debate, you'll see like they're getting into like a heated debate with someone, and it's to the point where they'll start using the car as a weapon as well. It's like, oh my gosh, yeah, well, this person just let them go, they can have it. when I be in the car with my cousins, I hate when he do that. Like we'll be driving, and let's say if someone do something like cut him off, his response would be, well, I'm gonna speed back and cut him back off. Like, nigga, no, like, don't do that. That's hella not smart, stupid. We're in cars. Don't do that while I'm in here playing with my life because you want to prove a point. Like, I get it. What the person did was messed up, and I hunk and cuss you out the whole time. But I'm not about to do nothing like that. That don't make sense. And then you'll bump into them people like that who was like, all right, but I got 30 in the car. Get the bus in the car. That's, man. I've seen those type of road rage videos go left so many different type of ways. But either way it go, video is over though. I was gonna tell y'all my most bone chilling moment I've had, which is freaking crazy, dude. Maybe not for you, but it was for me. So video over at this point. If you wanna leave, you can. Look, I'm in the car. I went to go pick up my kids from their granny house, wherever, right? In Detroit. So I'm going down the block. We not that far. We going down the block. Boom. I turn the corner and ready to go down another block. When I go down there, like the streets in Michigan, well, at least in Detroit, they're like hella small. At least I see them as small. They're like hella small. So when it's like a car on the right, a car on the left, you kind of really got to get out the way to get over, whatever. And then people like to park on the curb. It's like, man, these ones are already small. So basically, you got hella cars lined up because they already parked. And then you know how niggas gotta be. One car in the middle because he talking to somebody and just blocking the way. Like, I just don't fucking get it. So as I'm driving up, I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna just back up. I'm gonna go another way anyway. So as I'm driving up, it's another car behind me. Keep in mind, I got my kids in the car. This is why it was so bone chilling to me, so scary, because I got my kids in the car. So as I'm driving up, I see this dude walking in and he ain't got no shirt on. Like he got something big in his hand, like a damn axe or like a tree or whatever. So I'm like, he just walked whatever got that. He's walking in the street. Keep in mind, I'm in the car like this. My kids are on the back. He walking. So when he walking, these streets are small. He's in the street. He's legit like this close. Like if he turns to the left, his nose will probably hit my window. So he walking, and as he get closer, I'm like, this nigga got a big ass AK-47 in his hand. I was like, I know what's going on now. I'm in the middle of a fucking shootout. So car behind me, I can't back up. Cars are all on the side. Cars on the right, because it's people arguing. I'm like, oh, this is some bullshit. So at this point, I'm shaking. I was like, I can get hit with a million bullets. I don't care. I gotta get my kids out of here. At this point, I start kind of going to the left, like in people's yard, because I'm about to cut through the yard. This is weird to me, dog. So as people are out watching everybody argue and fight, they got their kids out, and it's so when I swerve to the left, because his cars are already on the right and left. I'm not dashing out at this point. I'm slowly still like, we'll get the fuck out of the way. By this time, as I'm going to the left to go to the yard, whatever. Oh, let me not forget the part before I turned though. When I say bro walked past my car and was like right here, and all I see was walk past the gun, I'm like, fuck. Keep in mind, I do keep my gun in my car, but I'm in my girl car, and if I did, it wouldn't have been smart for me to put on and use it anyway. That wouldn't have been smart. So he walked by. So when he walked by, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm like, what up? I'm scared of the bitch. So I'm like, what up? Like, try to play cool. He just keep walking straight with her. I'm like, he about to go to this car behind me. This is the beef right here. Boom. So now I'm going to the left trying to get away because I'm about to go to people's yard at this point. As I do that, this is back to the part where I was like, well, I don't get why people outside watching. But they got their kids out, and all I see is like 4 or 5 kids in front of my car, cause now I'm in someone's yard trying to get. I'm like, man, I'm about to zoom through this shit. I'm not about to try to hit the kid, but I'm about to try to go around people. I'm not about to see her. At this point, the car that was, I guess, in the middle of the lane blocking, talking to somebody, he started moving. So as he moved, he kind of went inside somebody's driveway. Boy, I squeezed out. I was like, if I scratch these buzz car, I already know I'm gonna be the one that did the shootout now. So I'm playing it cool, so going through whatever. So I'm going through, so I go by. I'm like, what up? Just trying to be cool, play it off like I ain't got nothing to do with this shit going on with her right now, right? So then he said, what up back whenever, boom, and he keep pulling up a little bit, and I go by. When I say, boy, when he gave me that little freedom, I ain't want to dart through, because if you on a scene like that, don't do that, dog. So I'm like, oh, all right, boom, I'm good. So I'm going straight, dog. When I say I am so fucking scared, the only thing I'm thinking about is my kids in the back seat, dog. I get to the curb, I turn to the right, and then at that point, I'm no longer visible. I ain't dark because I ain't have to, but I did get out of there. I'm like, dog, this shit is so ignorant, dog. Look, obviously I made it out alive, so I can't say it was about to be a shootout, but yeah, bro had his gun on him and niggas on the side, everybody just arguing. I'm like, yeah. But look though, y'all do know I love good stories, and some of y'all be feeling like, oh, this too long, he ain't gonna read it. Even if I don't respond, trust me, I read it, especially when you leave those long ones, because I ain't gonna disrespect like that. If you take your time to leave a message that long, of course I read it. But I say it to say this, y'all know I love a good story. Let me know your bone chilling stories in the comment section. If you ain't got none, hey, that's cool too, whatever. If you feel like it's like blah, it's whatever, just let me know. Look, I like reading them, but yo, enjoy your day, morning, evening, night. out.